Hey, love. Welcome back to another episode of Lessons from Behind My Chair. I'm your host, Angela B. Fuller, master hairstylist turned certified life coach. Today, we have a very good episode set up for you today. But before we dive in, I got a pop question for you because it wouldn't be LFBMC if I did not have a pop question for you. So here we go. And I want you to think about this pop question as you listen to this episode or as you watch on YouTube. So the question is, are you ready to celebrate you? Now, I know in the beginning, just hearing the question, it sounds simple enough. It sounds easy enough. But what I have found is we are more inclined to be okay with other people celebrating us than we are and celebrating ourselves. So don't think you're going to have an easy out when it comes to this question, because my hope is that at the end of this episode that this pop question allows you to just think a little bit more deeper into some of the limiting talks and beliefs that you hold about yourself as it pertains to you celebrating you. This episode came about because lately, I don't know, I've been going through a lot of introspection. I think I'm on the cusp of doing something great, of really going after the purpose in which I was born. And I'm I'm excited and I'm nervous about the possibilities of helping other women to grow, helping other women to expand, because I take this very seriously and I don't want to mess up. But I know that's just a little tactic of trying to hold me back and keep me from going forward. But guess what? Your girl ain't gonna stop. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pursuing. I'm going to do it messy if I have to, because I am on a mission to leave a footprint, to make a difference, not only in my life, but in the lives of those who I touch. I have a lot of women in my life. I have clients from the salon. I have followers on social media. I have women in my church. I have nieces. I have grandnieces and friends, childhood friends, new friends. And I really and truly have a desire to make a difference. And so I'm going for it. I just ask that you all keep me lifted up so that I can complete this task that I have been called to do. And so, I've been doing some serious thinking about how to add value to my podcast, to my brand, to myself, and to others. And so there are a lot of, I had a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas about all this. And there were three things that's been standing out a lot. And those three things are owning my greatness. And for you, put yourself where I put I, owning your greatness. And understanding that owning your greatness starts with you. Each of us have greatness in us, but owning that greatness so that it could come bubble up from within us out into the world so that we can not only transform ourselves but other people. Owning that greatness begins with us. The other thing that came to mind was being comfortable in lighting up the room. Isn't that something? Being comfortable with lighting up the room. And I'm going to dive in a little bit more deeper about that because I discovered some things about myself that I just didn't know. And so, trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. And also creating value wherever you go. You know, when you go a place, let somebody know that you've been there. Don't be silent, don't be invisible, but let somebody know that you were there. When I talk about owning your greatness and that it starts with you, what I had to do was I had to, and I'm still doing it because it's a daily work. It doesn't ever end. Is that take time to know who you are, who you are, not who others have told you who you were since you've been knee high to a duck. No, not believing someone else definition or portrayal of you, but taking the time to know who you are, okay, and not who someone else told you who you are. And how you do that is you stop looking at yourself as what you do. Because I'm not talking about what you do as a profession, but who you are, who you innately are, your dreams, your fears, your passion, your your beliefs when those beliefs go against what you've been taught. Don't discount those beliefs when you feel uncomfortable in doing a thing. And then you have to ask yourself, where did this come from? Am I comfortable with this? Is this me? That's part of getting to know who you are when you begin to question the way you've always done a thing. And then you find yourself uncomfortable in doing it that way. That's an indication that maybe this isn't your belief. Maybe this is something that was drilled into you when you were younger or were you in a certain place in life and then you adopted it at that time as your own without figuring things out for yourself. And ask yourself also, am I multi-talented? And if you feel like you are multi talented, sometimes that shows up as not being settled, not settling into one thing. That sometimes feel like jumping all over the place. That sometimes feel like indecision. But a lot of times it's because you are multi talented. And the problem is you don't know how to decide on a particular talent, and then you don't know or have the tools on figuring out how to activate and multiply those talents. And so instead of exploring the gifts and talents that we have, what we do is we stay in a role because it's comfortable. And because it's comfortable, we think this is what we are supposed to do. We think this is where we are supposed to be. And a lot of times it was a place that someone placed you. That's just like when you go on a job and you learn certain skills about this job and you exceed this job. And then something comes up on that job in which you can apply for a promotion. But because you've always done job XYZ, you feel like it's not your place to want more. You're good at job XYZ, so why move forward? So don't allow yourself to get blocked into a particular gift or a particular display of your talent. You have to understand that your transformation, your ability to go from one position to another, it is to be pursued. and not just pursued, it is to be gotten by you. That you are required. You are required by a certain place within your headspace, within your heart space, to go after whatever it is in life that you desire. And that even though you may need some basic help on creating this transformation, the full transformation is still yours. It can still be yours. And so if you need some help with that, I will I'll put a link to my course, my affirmation course and guidebook that will help you along that journey. And so an indication that it's time for you to move yourself forward, or an indication that it's time for you to transform or to celebrate yourself, is that sometimes you can begin to feel uncomfortable or irritated in your flow. And sometimes that can also show up in being irritated when other people begin to elevate themselves. Because when we're not doing what we're supposed to do to move our life forward, when we're not activating our own gifts and our own talents, when we're not moving in flow and in sync, and we witness somebody else doing it, sometimes it can trigger a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of envy and irritation in us, because that person is being a mirror for where we are stagnant. So don't have an issue now with someone else showing up full throttle. If you find yourself getting irritated when someone else is flowing through life and getting it done and self-actualizing themselves, baby, that's an indication that you need to get on the ball. And so you thank God for that revelation, and don't sit in the negativity that can sometimes create in us. Earlier, I had mentioned don't be afraid to light up a room. This is a big one, because there was a time when I was afraid to light up the room. Because what I realized, that when I stepped into a place, when I stepped into a room, I noticed that people were drawn to me, were drawn to my energy. They were drawn to my light. And then that would cause me to retreat, because I felt uncomfortable getting that type of attention. But as I began to do the work on myself, I began to realize that it wasn't, it may have appeared on the surface that they were drawn to me, but what they were was drawn into that light, the God light that is in me. And to be honest with you, that scared me. But then as I began to know more about who I am and whose I am, and God's intention when He gave life to me, I began to realize that it wasn't me that they were drawn to, but they were drawn to the light that was in me, which opened the door for me to operate in my purpose, to operate in my gift. I came to realize that that was God's way of using me for His purpose. And when I embraced that, man, I didn't retreat anymore. When I began to realize that when I walk into a room and I light that room up and people are drawn to that light, that gave me the opportunity to encourage someone, to inspire someone, to get the ears of that person, to drop a nugget in that person's life, to help someone that was feeling despondent, to help someone that was feeling that they didn't have any hope. And so I stopped resisting it, and I started getting excited about stepping into a room and drawing people towards me. I started getting excited about helping people to hold their shoulders back and feel that there was no end to what they can accomplish and do. Listen, I accept my brilliance because it allows me to jump on every opportunity to remind other women of their brilliance. Because how in the world can I show up preaching, encouraging women to let their brilliance shine when I shy away from my own? That's very hypocritical. So yes, I hope it doesn't sound vain, because a lot of times we don't want to acknowledge the gifts that God has given us. But when we begin to see those gifts as our way of operating in our purpose, then we can freely give of our gifts. Let me conclude the message of this episode and ask you this question. Is the world a better place because you are here? And if you believe that, I want you to say it. I want you to say the world is a better place because I am here. And then I want you to list out reasons why the world is a better place because you are here. And I want you to step out even further and post on social media these reasons why the world is a better place because you are here. And I want you to tag me at Angela B. Fuller with your answers. And ask yourself, are you an encourager? Is the world a better place because you are an encourager? Or is this world a better place because you are a healer? Or are you a legacy maker, a visionary, a trainer? Are you someone with the ability to inspire? And most importantly, are you living out your purpose? I think that when you answer these questions, when you ask these questions of yourself, and when you give yourself the answer to these questions, it will help you to understand and embrace and be proud of who you are and whose you are. And it'll also give you more insight into how you can be of service, not only to yourself, but to others. And all I can say is happy answering of those questions. I'll see you on the other side. Okay? Bye. Mwah.